Trib Live Radio presents The Kevin Gorman Show, talking Pittsburgh sports with a focus on high school and college sports, plus all the latest recruiting news. Now, here's your host, Trib columnist Kevin Gorman, Trib Total Media. See what's next.
Well, what a day, what a 24 hours or 48 hours for the University of Pittsburgh. Agnes Baronato fired as women's basketball coach. Russell Shell asked for his transfer papers so he can leave the football program after being one of the most heralded recruits in recent WPL history to stay home and play for the Panthers. Trey Zeigler announces he's transferring, destination unknown, but he's leaving Pitt instead of spending his senior season there. And then Steven Adams drops the bombshell of them all by announcing that he's not only declaring for the NBA draft, but will sign with an agent and forfeit his remaining 3 seasons of eligibility. Wow, what a tough time to be at Pitt and endure all of this in a matter of, like I said, 24, 48 hours. I don't think the world's coming to an end. I think a lot of people are overreacting to this. It's not that long ago that Pitt lost both LaShawn McCoy and DeJuan Blair to the NFL and NBA, and the Panthers survived after that. But it certainly is a blow and some big changes there. Welcome to the Kevin Gorman Show on Trib Live Radio. I'm Trib columnist Kevin Gorman. We're going to be joined now by a guy who can offer a lot of perspective about a lot of different topics going on right now. Former Pitt point guard, it's weird to say that one, former Pitt point guard Trey Woodall, who just finished his 5th year of school and final season of eligibility with the Panthers. Trey, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Trey, I want to talk to you about a variety of topics, but first and foremost, just how much surprise was there, if any, on the part of Panthers players to see Trey Zeigler announce he was transferring and then Steven Adams to go pro? What was it like to get the reaction yesterday from you and your former teammates?
I think a lot of guys were surprised, but me, myself, being here and for 5 years, I've always said that University of Pittsburgh, period, is just not for everyone. I think Trey Zeigler is definitely is a very good player. Could become a very great player. And certain style of players are for certain players. And you'd never really fully understand the extent of a program or a school until you're actually here. And coming in, he thought it was a good fit for him. He's seen how the style of play we run under Coach Dixon since he was a little kid, but for him to actually be here is a totally different thing, and it just wasn't a right fit for him while he was here, and he felt like he could explore and spread his wings a little more somewhere else. So that was just his decision to leave, and I respect and support his decision, because above anything, he's one of my friends on the team, so I think it was I'm just gonna support him in whatever he wanted to do. Now, Steve situation, I was surprised. I figured he would come back, for an extra year, and I thought maybe he probably should have came back. But I think he's a player that's going to be drafted pretty high in the draft. And the thing about being a pro is you're a pro athlete, so that's what you're supposed to do. You play basketball all day pretty much. You could just work on your game and get better, opposed to being a student athlete where you have tons of homework, tons of midterm exams to study for. So, it's a balance between two. But now, since he decided to go pro, now he gets a chance to develop his game fully as a player.
Yeah, I think what caught everybody's surprise, Trey, is not only did Steven insist all season that he'd be back and repeated that he was enjoying the college life, that he was planning on coming back, that he thought he could use the time to develop as a player. But and I know it was an emotional locker room after the loss to Wichita State in the NCAA West Region second round. He was choking back some tears at the moment after suffering a tough loss. But, that he was very adamant after that game. Like, I don't know why you guys keep asking me that. I'm coming back. Do you have any idea what changed? I know he went back to New Zealand, his native country. We went back there, kind of unexpectedly. But do you have any idea what changed? Has anybody been in communication with Steven or at least got an inkling that this could happen, after the season ended?
After the game, a lot of people aren't really, thinking about the next moves or anything like that. We just all distraught about the game. and a lot of emotion was flying through the locker room. As you've seen in Dixon's post-game interview after, I broke down in the interview when someone asked him, the same person who asked me the question asked Dixon a question about his status as far as whether he's staying or going. He couldn't even answer that question. So for someone to ask a 19-year-old kid at that moment whether or not he's coming back to school, he doesn't really have any time to really think about what kind of answer he's going to get. And right then and there, I'm sure he didn't know. He was probably worrying about when we're going to play again, as players. But I'm not sure if the decision when he went back home and changed the decision. I feel like he pretty much had a decision in his head when the season started, whether he was staying or going. But the team would have definitely been able to use him next year. But I know Coach Dixon and the coaching staff going to do a great job of finding someone to fit the program style of play and they get a guy to get us ready for next year.
Well, speaking of that, you mentioned Coach Dixon, Jamie Dixon, was asked after the game against Wichita State if he would be pursuing the Southern Cal, job. There were rumors that he was their top target. Whether he'd be staying at Pitt. A couple days later, 2 days later, actually, he signs a new 10-year deal to stay at Pitt. How was that received among the team, among the recruits? I mean, were people surprised to see that he signed a long-term deal, or were they relieved to see that he signed a long-term deal? Surprised at all that he turned down, SC. I know you have, a close friend you consider a brother played out there. So, I mean, I'm sure you could see it from both sides, both from Pitt and Southern Cal's perspective.
Definitely. I feel like all along I knew Dixon was gonna sign another deal, or basically just stay here in Pittsburgh. He loves the city here. He loves the people. He loves everything about Pittsburgh. Me and him had a conversation about how much we both, love Pittsburgh. And this is just a unique city, and we adapt to it real fast, and we love it here. And so there was no doubt in my mind that he was going anywhere. He's one of those coaches. He's one of those guys. He's just a stand-up guy. He's true to pretty much everything. He's true to everything he says. He's just a stand-up guy, and this was the best fit for him as a coach and for his family. He is a West Coast guy, but he loves it here at Pittsburgh, and he wouldn't rather see himself anywhere else.
Trey Woodall joined us here on the Kevin Gorman Show on Triple Live Radio, and Trey, you had unfortunately end your career on that note, like you called it, a bitter taste. To end your career with your worst game, you said one of the worst games you've ever played, but certainly the worst in a Panther uniform. How much have you been able to sit back and, if at all, watch the NCAA tournament and see that 6 of the 9 teams Pitt lost to this season with the 24-9 record, 6 of the 9 teams you lost to finished went to the Elite Eight, and all 4 teams in the Final Four are teams that you lost to this season. How much can you maybe look back and say it was a pretty good season after all, and even though it didn't end the way you wanted it to, are you able to kind of reflect? Have you had enough time to reflect and maybe be able to enjoy the tournament, or is it still pretty much affecting you adversely?
I mean, one of the best things that somebody told me is pain is temporary, but pride is forever. And there's really no way for me to grasp losing ever. And I feel like we could have went very far, and I put a lot of that on my shoulders that I did after the game. I was more apologetic to my teammates that I let them down, and that's the way I react. Why I reacted the way I did, because I take real pride in being that leader and being a guy to always be there for my teammates, and for us to not get it done, I was out of off where it was a bitter taste, and it still is, because I always pride myself being a winner and winning, and for us not to get it done, it just wasn't a feeling that I definitely don't want to feel again. But after watching the teams, these guys, the teams that are in the Final Four, they're well-deserving teams. They all had a pretty good season. A lot of people slept on Wichita State, which after they beat us, I told guys they were going to the Final Four. They play hard. really hard. They don't care about the names on the front of the jersey or the names on the back of your jersey. They just go at you in attack, and you got to appreciate a team like that. But I haven't really watched the tournament at all, except I watched Florida. I watched Florida lose to Michigan because another guy on that team, like I said, my brother is Mike Rosario. I know him for a long time. But I pretty much didn't watch the tournament. I just couldn't. Just pride won't let me do it.
When you look at these teams, though, that you've played all of these teams, do you have a team that you look at in the Final Four and say, this is the team, this is the best one we faced? So this, based on what you saw up close when you were on the floor with them, who do you think's the best of the Final Four teams?
Wow, that's a pretty tough question, Thomas. Somebody asked me the other day who was the best player I faced this year, and the first player that came to mind was Trey Burke.
Yeah, from Michigan.
Because his style and his will to his motor to just keep attacking. I feel like he was the best player. But in my opinion, I think honestly the best team that we faced is probably Syracuse. I like Syracuse because especially with the zone, I always feel like the zone is made for tournaments. Now in the Big East regular season, we playing 18 games and. You got 18 games to prepare for that zone. Then you see how different teams attack the zone and see what team did the best, or you play Syracuse twice or anything like that. So you got time to really prepare. You still got time now to prepare, but it's the Big East we play against them every year. Now in the tournament, a team has one chance to, play against them and players have to get adjusted to how their style of zone is because they're real long. They got the guys on the wings who cover a lot of ground. They got shooters, and they have a guy, when Carter Williams is playing his best basketball yet, with a strong senior, Brandon Trish, who's playing great. And when you have guys like that and the zone that effective, I feel like that team is definitely the best team that I think can win it all.
Yeah, and I guess what probably makes it tough to swallow for you. Trey Woodall joining us here on the Kevin Gorman Show on Triple Live Radio. Trey, got to be tough to swallow that your last two losses of the season were to Syracuse and Wichita State. They're both in the Final Four. Not the last time. The first time this has happened. Hopefully the last for your sake. But I know that a few years ago you lost to Butler and they made it to the national championship game. How tough is that to see that the teams that ended your season, that ended your last game in the Big East and ended your first game in the NCAA tournament, have gone on so deep? I mean, I'm sure there's a feeling on this Pitt basketball team that had things gone the other way that maybe you could have been the team to make the run. Do you feel that way? And is there an explanation for why Pitt wasn't playing its best basketball at the end of the season?
I couldn't even tell you. It was different to a lot of guys who haven't played in a tournament. I think leading into Big East, we started to stride and then take steps in playing our best basketball. But towards the end of the season, we just didn't have it. We missed a lot of shots, rebounding. I mean, field goal percentage defense, was pretty. We held the team pretty good going towards the end of the season. So that's how we look at it as our best basketball when we're playing. We hold the teams under 40%, starting to rebound better, and still holding teams under 40, under 50 points. And for some teams that's tough to do. I'm not sure. I think we probably were up there with the top two teams in the Big East with defensive stands. But defensively, that's how we always looked at things. But shot making, we missed a lot of shots, especially in the last game. The Syracuse game, we fought back to get back into that game. But I can't pinpoint one reason why we weren't playing our best basketball at the end of the season. But guys fought, and that's all you can ever really ask for, just guys to leave it on the floor and just compete on every possession. But not making shots, that just happens in basketball. And it just happened to us at the wrong time.
Yeah. Trey Woodall here on Trib Live Radio, the Kevin Gorman Show. Trey, one of the things I think a lot of people look at is just that you had the 10-man rotation. You had a lot of depth, and it's hard to keep everyone happy when no one's playing less than 10 minutes and no one's playing more than, I think you led the team in 28, 29 minutes a game. It's hard to keep everyone happy when people aren't hitting their scoring averages that they're used to, aren't on the floor as much as they'd like to be. Now, 4 guys are gone from this team. Yourself and Dante Taylor, the 2 seniors, and now Trey Zeigler and Steven Adams are gone. Do you worry at all that there's more guys on their way out, that other guys are going to have some dissatisfaction with the way this past season went and could transfer out? There's already John Johnson and Malcolm Gilbert had already left Ken Birch a year ago. There's already been, quite a bit of turnover within the program. Is there concern about that, and how do you think the Panthers will be next season?
Oh, well, since I've been here, guys transferred in and out. Like I said before, Pitt just isn't for anybody. Guys transfer in and out. I feel like this is the first season that I feel it was a 10-man rotation. It's hard to keep everyone happy. It is. It's not enough minutes, and it's not enough basketball that you could have on the court at one time.